Mr. Darnell's Facade. You, a newcomer to the town, had always felt an outsider's distance, but nothing could prepare you for the unsettling undercurrents of Eldridge Middle School. It was your first day, and the air was thick with the scent of old books and whispered rumors. Your classmates seemed nice enough, but their eyes darted away too quickly, hiding secrets you couldn't begin to fathom. As the day progressed, you were introduced to Mr. Darnell, the history teacher, whose presence seemed to cast a long shadow over the classroom. His eyes, dark and depthless, seemed to bore into your very soul, and his smile, though brief, revealed a glimpse of something inhuman. As days turned into weeks, you noticed the oddities surrounding Mr. Darnell. Animals behaved strangely around him, birds ceasing their songs as he passed, dogs whimpering and retreating. The plants in his classroom withered, despite the sunlight streaming through the windows. But it was the stories that chilled you the most, whispers of students who challenged him disappearing, only to return with eyes hollow and voices silent, their wills broken, their spirits crushed. You tried to dismiss these tales as mere superstitions, the wild imaginations of your peers, but then you witnessed something that turned your blood to ice. Late one evening, after most had left, you forgot a book in your locker and returned to the desolate halls of the school. As you neared Mr. Darnell's classroom, you heard a sound that made your heart stop, a low, guttural growling that seemed to echo from the depths of the earth. Peering through the keyhole, you saw him, or what you thought was him, for his form seemed to shift, his skin taking on a gray, mottled appearance, his fingers elongating into claws. Your breath caught in your throat, and in that moment he turned, his eyes meeting yours through the tiny aperture. You fled, the sound of his laughter ringing in your ears, a sound that was not entirely human. The next day, you tried to tell your classmates, but their reactions were a mix of fear and disbelief. "It's just a story," they said, or "he's just a bit weird, that's all." But you saw the fear in their eyes, the unspoken truth that they too had sensed something unnaturally sinister about Mr. Darnell. Determined to prove the truth, you began to gather evidence, sneaking photos of the withered plants, recording the strange sounds from his classroom, and collecting the whispered testimonies of your classmates. But with every piece of evidence, you felt a growing sense of dread, as if by uncovering the truth, you were drawing the darkness closer to yourself. It all came to a head one stormy night when, armed with your evidence, you decided to confront Mr. Darnell. The school was empty, the halls echoing with the sound of the storm outside. You found him in his classroom, seated at his desk, the room illuminated by the flickering light of a single candle. "I know what you are," you said, your voice barely above a whisper, but carrying a weight of determination. Mr. Darnell looked up, his eyes gleaming in the candlelight. "And what, pray tell, do you think I am?" His voice was calm, but you detected a note of amusement. "You're not human. You're something else. I've seen you, heard the stories. I know about the students who've disappeared, the animals, the plants. I know." You held up your phone, displaying the photos and recordings. For a moment there was silence, broken only by the sound of the rain against the windows. Then Mr. Darnell stood, and as he did, the room seemed to darken, the shadows lengthening. "You're right," he said, his voice changing, becoming something otherworldly. "I am not what I appear to be, but you are mistaken in your fear." Before you could react, he moved, not towards you, but to the door, locking it. "You see, I am not the monster you believe me to be. I am a guardian, tasked with protecting this world from the true monsters, those that lurk in the shadows, waiting to prey upon the innocent. The stories, the rumors, they are a necessary facade, a means to keep curious souls at bay." You stood frozen, trying to process his words. But the students, the animals. "A sacrifice," he admitted, a hint of sorrow in his voice. A necessary evil to maintain the balance, to keep the greater darkness at bay. The students who disappeared were those touched by the darkness, infected by the creatures I hunt. I did not harm them. I saved them, purged the darkness from their souls. But such actions come at a cost, both to them and to me. The room seemed to pulse with an unseen energy, the storm outside mirroring the turmoil within. "Why tell me this?" you asked, your voice steadier now, curiosity overcoming your fear. "Because you have seen beyond the veil," Mr. Darnell replied, moving back to his desk, where the candlelight seemed to gather around him, casting his features in a more humane light. "And because I believe you have the potential to help. You have shown courage and a desire for the truth. These are qualities we need. But what can I do?" The idea of being involved in a hidden war against creatures of darkness was both terrifying and exhilarating. "Learn, observe, and when the time comes, act. Not all battles are fought with weapons. Knowledge, understanding, and the courage to stand up for what is right, these are your tools. You will not be alone. I will guide you, as will others who stand in the light." The idea of stepping into a hidden world, of standing on the front line of a shadowy war, was overwhelming. Yet, as you looked into Mr. Darnell's eyes, you saw not the monster you had feared, but a warrior, weary yet resolute. As the storm outside began to wane, Mr. Darnell unlocked the door. "Go now. Think on what I have said. When you are ready, come to me. The path ahead is perilous, but it is also one of purpose. You have seen the darkness, but you have also seen the light. Choose your path wisely." Leaving the classroom, the school felt different, as if you were seeing it for the first time. The shadows no longer whispered of fear, but of the unseen battle between light and darkness. You stepped out into the night, the rain having stopped, the clouds parting to reveal the stars above, a reminder of the light in the darkness. The twist, the realization that the monster you feared was actually a guardian fighting on behalf of humanity, shifted everything. The terror you felt was replaced with a sense of purpose, a determination to stand against the darkness. And as you walked home, the world seemed both more terrifying and more wonderful, for you had seen behind the curtain, and you knew your life would never be the same again.